Hello everyone, welcome back to LaserPenguinGames. Today we're going to be taking a look at another Barb build in Diablo 2 XL Sigma, and this one's going to be kind of a spell proc build. I come up with a better name from it, but let's go ahead and get into the skills first like I normally do. So, okay. For the reward page, looks like maxed out Rune Master and have 1 point in Thunder God, and that's pretty much it for that page. We're going to come back to the mill page after, but all you need to know, I guess, first is that I got 1 in Wolf Companion, and then I put 28 in Ancient Blood, 1 in Fortress, 1 in Spirit Guide, and then you'll see Mountain King is kind of leftover points after, and so are our stance points, so we'll go take a look at the other page and come back. Here we have 1 point in Blood Hatred, and this is going to be one of our attacks. So we're not really going to be caring about physical damage here at all with this build, and you're going to see why. In our, I guess, Gladiator, that was the Berserker tree. So our Gladiator tree, we have 1 in Earthquake, 1 in Iron Spile, 1 in Storm Blast, 1 in Wind Form, which is actually going to be our main attack, but we don't care about the poison damage or the physical damage, so we only put 1 point there, and then we're going to actually max out in Daedalus. So after we put all the points there, this is where we come back, and here you have kind of some options here. So for the stances, my main stance I'm using, because this is more of a farm build, it's got some really good AoE damage. So I went down here to Bear Stance, and I put enough points in to cap out my physical resistance at 50%, and then we're also going to get a huge defense bonus here because I'm not wearing a shield, so it's going to be really nice to have the bonus defense. If you're fighting more magic mobs, I guess, you can use Eagle Stance instead, so you can kind of put the points where you need to and use the stance you want here. Also, Eagle Stance is going to give us life regen, which is going to be better against spells, any spell damage, than the Bear Stance. But I put 1 point in anyway, so I can still use it, even though most of my points are in Bear Stance. And then whatever I had left over, I dumped into Mountain King, and then this is just going to give us more bonus stats, which is going to give us a lot of life, you'll see. Alright, let me get to the page here. So, for our stats here, just enough strength to wear all the gear. I definitely did put a few points into Dexterity just to get the attack rating up, and also it gives us a bit more defense as well. And then the rest I kind of dumped into Vitality here because we're just going to have a big life pool. And you can see here, I got the extra magic resist from the new belt scroll. And if I buff up, so I have Bloodlust and Jamaica. We'll take a look at the actual gear in a second here, but I put on, so now for Barbarians, the stances are actually castable, which is really nice. So you just cast it and it's on for a while, and you can actually switch back to your, so on our left attack here we have Blood Hatred, and then just gonna give us a 5-second basically buff to our attacks, because it's gonna give us enemy fire, cold lightning, pierce, and then Wind Form is gonna basically be swinging with both our weapons, and this whole build is based around just proccing as many spells as possible. And we're going to go with kind of a cold version once you see the swords. Now that the buffs are on, we got about 1.1 million defense, and when we whirlwind, we're going to get another 270% bonus on top of that, so we're going to be somewhere between 1.4 and 1.5 million defense. And we're going to be pretty hard to hit for most mobs. But let's go into the gear now. Okay, so the main pieces for this build are going to be 2 Astral Blades. So we have 2 of them, and they're full of mostly runes because we are using the Rune Master passive for bonus defense as well. I put in a indestructible jewel in both the swords because they break super fast. Like when you're swinging, they're gonna break so fast, and if you don't put indestructible in them, then you're gonna have to go to town just constantly. So it's just not worth it. Make them indestructible, and then also we're gonna be putting in lots of runes. Here's more tie runes here. I think that's pretty much the only rune I'm really using. But we're getting lots of cold pierce because you'll see here on the sword. We got 15% chance to cast level 60 Haunting Banshee on melee attack, which is cold damage, and another 15% chance to cast level 60 Ember Spirit on melee attack, which is fire damage. But we're going to be going with this as a cold build more so, but we obviously still are going to get some bonus fire damage, but it's going to be a cold build. So we're getting +1 projectile for each sword we're wearing as well, and then all sorts of good stats from both these swords. And then we're going to be using Wodsy Wob, which is a core rune, and we put in a few spell jewels and get some more life on attack. But this helm is going to give us 50% chance to cast level 46 lemurs on melee attack, which is going to be huge. So basically every second hit we're going to be proccing a level 46 lemur spell, which is also another cold damage. And then our amulet here, I'm just using Black Dwarf with high cold pierce and spell damage. But there's probably a few different amulets you can use here. I just tried to stack up, I think, a ton of cold pierce. I think I could, I'm sitting around like 177 right now with what I have. You can see I'm using Ice Tomb as well for the armor, which is going to give us just more pierce and spell damage. So whenever we're proccing one of these spells, it's actually going to receive our spell focus and spell damage, but it will not receive like any energy bonuses or cast speed or anything like that, obviously, because we're just proccing it. But it also receives the pierce, which is good. Using Riptide for boots, which is going to give us 25% chance to proc level 16 Arcane Torrent on melee attack, as well as a lot of other good stats, like 2% max all resist, and a bit of extra physical resist as well. There's the jewels in there. For the belt, I'm going to be using Sash of the Frozen Seas, which is just more cold pierce, but it's also the most important stat on this is the 100 life on attack, and that's going to help keep us alive because we're going to be stacking. You can see on the swords as well, I stacked as much life on attack as possible. And for the rings here, we're just using 2 rare cold spell damage. If you can get spell focus on them as well, and extra cold pierce, it's nice, but these are just ones I'm using for now. And then also the gloves here, we already seen, but just Starry Claws, which are really good for cold damage and pierce as well. And that's pretty much the gear I'm using. You're already seeing my offhand weapon, which is also giving us bloodlust for extra. I will show you guys just another helmet and armor I tried with this build. So I wanted to try this Hellfire Plate, which has been changed now to add 20% chance cast level 10 life spark on melee attack. I really thought it would be good for heals and really high defense because I put in ancient armor, but the proc just wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. So I might see if I can make that work with something else, because I know like there's a new I think it's Helm enchant scroll that gives 20% chance as well. So maybe I'll try that on a Merc or something instead and see if it'll make them survive longer. But this armor was kind of a bust, as well as we had the actual here it is. Okay, So I had Warfrost, and I actually attempted to build first with Warfrost, and this is a Sacred Unique Barb only helmet that's going to give 25% chance to cast level 40 Ice Bolt Nova on melee attack. And look at the pierce on this thing, it's crazy too. Pierce and spell damage is high. I thought it was going to be a perfect helmet for the build, but it ended up being terrible because Ice Bolt Nova does not do any damage. Yeah, it's very low on the damage, even though there's a ton of pierce. So I ended up trying out Wadsy Wob, and it was very good. And you'll see here when I'm gonna go show you how the build works. It's a lot of fun for farming, and we'll just open up like a thoughts. So basically, we have like no physical damage at all, and we just didn't even care about strength. It's sitting on buffed up here. We got 27,000, almost getting close to 28k HP, which is pretty good. Well, I think it's probably the highest that I've had, besides trying to just get stack HP. Okay, crack it open. I guess I'll head towards Brimtown. You'll see here, I'm just gonna like fill the screen with procs. And the cool thing about the lemurs too is they're heat seeking. I think the banshees might actually be too, so everything's just gonna auto fire basically as I'm hitting here and just kill everything on the screen. Sometimes you'll have to go back a little bit because you only proc so many projectiles and there's a lot of enemies in FOSS. Suppose this might be, if you have a really old computer or something, maybe this might lag you, but I enjoy this build quite a bit. Should I go after one of the mini bosses first, and then we'll go to Brimtown and do that? Bolt quiver. Alright, I'll pick it up. You never know with bolt quivers. Could be an SSU for all I know. The enemies just keep aggroing from all over the place. Stone. Alright, up. Land shrine. I can get in here. I'm just trying to get over into Alpha. Might get a goblin too. Let's see what this amulet is. Oh, it's a assassin. Only 100 life. Gee. They usually go up to 500, so that's very low. I'll leave it. And there should be an alpha over here. We can go on this. Yep, there we go. I'll take him down. Hang out there. Not even going after him really, but so I'm gonna go actually hit him with my left attack, and then we can. You don't even have to spin it really. If you don't want to, you can just sit here and wail away with the whirlwind anyway. So you can see why it's not the greatest for single target, because a lot of the projectiles will just split up and go over, kind of go wherever the hell they want. When you only have one thing to attack. That's Gauntlet Pendant. It's easier to kill them, but the damage is not great for Ubers. It's just nice to be melee and not have to actually really care about about targeting anything around too and getting big AoE. Oh, get our bloodlust back. Alright, let's head over. Sometimes I don't even know that I go so fast, and then I just leave the goblin behind if it would pop down anyway. Alright, so I'm going to go spin this way now. Yeah, you can follow me. Nice thing too is obviously the necrobots are like really high physical resist, and we're just all doing cold damage and we just don't care. So this is really good for bots. Also, we get to freeze sometimes too, and as well as we have our Thunder God stun, which nothing fell off. There we go, we got it back on. Ethereal Eagle Orb. We shouldn't have a game. Melter pick. Clear these guys out. Bunch of tiered uniques. Alright, let's go in here. I'm gonna try and clear this pretty quick. Now I can go to. I could probably whirlwind right to the dragon, kill him right away too, if I want to get the upgraded charms, but I already have one, so. Just gonna plow through here. Even though we can't even see the enemies sometimes here, they're just... The good thing about Duncraig is that... Not Duncraig, Ribtown. They just teleport on you. So if you're gonna spam attacks like this, they're just gonna kill themselves. You don't even have to do anything. The only thing is with the armor, the ice tomb, I'm spawning these ice guys that are kind of aggroing some mobs sometimes. So I have to go back and kill them, which is kind of annoying, but they don't really even hurt me that bad. But if I stop spinning, like you can see, yeah, like 1.4 mil there on the defense. Mr. Dragon, are you down here? Ooh. Dragon down. A few more guys here. Ooh, we got a boot. Can't boot. We will pick it up. Now I have quite a few of them. Sometimes you don't even know if they're dead or not. You can just go on. Hoping we might get a goblin or something. Or maybe a cool drop, but the only magic find I really have is the head enchant scroll, which is giving me 777 magic find. You'll see in the bottom there when you see the rainbow chest. I have the big magic find. There we go. I'm trying to get my bloodlust back. I stopped spinning. Bone helm. What was that? An ape shot? I'll finish this up quick. Staff, spike club. No. No. Well, it's kind of a bust. Kind of a. Didn't really get anything, but sometimes nothing drops. You can see how the build works, and if you want to try it out yourselves. Or modify a bit, because I think it'd be cool to try like the fire version instead, so you could go the other way with it and try to proc all your damage onto the ember spirits instead of the hunting banshees, and you can make a fire spell build as well. And then the other cool thing about this entirely is that you can kind of stuff all this stuff onto an Act 5 Merc and let them run around and proc spells everywhere. It's pretty funny to watch. So even if you don't want to try the build yourself, you can always put it on a Merc and let them have some fun with it. If you guys have any questions or comments, also leave them below. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Hello everyone who made it to the end of the video. This is LaserPenguinGames, reminding you to smash that like button, leave a comment below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It really helps out. And if you're looking for even more content, check out my Patreon here, where I post exclusive video content every month, and you'll have access to all of that.